The quality of our lives is directly related to the quality of our relationships. Most importantly, starting with the relationship you have with yourself.
Hi, my name is Giovanna Elias, and on this channel, I'm going to show you how the communication and connection you have with yourself and your inner world directly impact the relationships, the connection, and the success you have in your outer world, in every area of your life.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another week here on The Connection Code. My name is Giovanna Elias. I am a human connection expert, and this week we're diving into part 2 on how to break bad habits and build stronger relationships. This week is all about the action-oriented physical implementation part of breaking old bad habits, implementing new habits, and as a result, building stronger relationships, first and foremost with ourselves, and therefore with the people in our lives. By having both the mental and emotional piece down first, exactly what we discussed in last week's video, now we can move forwards with the implementation of new physical action steps in order to build healthy new habits in our lives and healthy relationships. So listen in to the very end as you learn 5 new action steps in order to implement these new healthy habits into your life. So before we dive into these top 5 action steps to break bad habits and build new ones, I ask that if you've been watching the videos I put up every week, to like them, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications on my weekly videos I put up, and leave comments below. I always love to hear what you guys have to say. So without further ado, let's dive into today's good stuff. So the first action-oriented step that you can take is to manage your environment. And what this really means is setting up your environment, setting up your space powerfully to really enable you to be able to make powerful choices moving forwards in multiple areas of your life. So this, for example, could look like instead of buying all those sweets and treats and having them lying around your house, instead, put out that healthy bowl of fruit or that greens powder first thing in the morning, so that way you're ready when you get up to make your healthy morning smoothie. Another way is to lay out your exercise clothes just before you go to bed at night. That way, when you wake up in the morning, it's a reminder to start your day off with a powerful morning exercise. Another thing you could do is to put up a visual calendar on the wall. That way you can check off all the things that you have completed throughout your day and visually see the tasks that you have gotten done and what you have not. This serves as a reminder visually for us as well to help us really get clear on what it is that we're doing and what still falls short of being done. A final aspect in order to manage our environment is to set an alarm on our phone to remind us to check in with our thought patterns and our feelings throughout the day by simply asking ourselves, how are you feeling right now? What are you thinking? And this can really get us into the habit of becoming that much more conscious with our thoughts and our feelings and the patterns that circulate every single day. So in simply managing our environment, for example, in the foods that we eat, the exercises we do, checking in on our mental and emotional state, we are now able to take healthy action steps forwards in order to implement new healthy habits. Now, the second powerful action step you can take is accountability. And this is really about setting targets. Now, this can be done on a grand scale where you set out a challenge for yourself and you post up daily on social media. Therefore, you actually feel accountable to the people who are following you and your challenge you've set out for yourself every single day. Another way you can do this is on a smaller scale, and this can be done through finding an accountability buddy. Now, you can either have a coach whom holds you accountable every week for the action steps moving forwards, or it can be with a personal friend, with a family member, or with a romantic partner whom holds you accountable to the challenges and the goals you have set out for yourself. Either way, accountability is a very, very strong tool you can implement in order to build new healthy habits in your life. The third powerful action step is consistency. And this is really about doing the same thing every single day. It's even better if you choose to do it around the same time. That way your brain doesn't really have to overthink it, and it already knows a pattern that it needs to follow. This keeps things super simple for you. It also becomes that much easier to reinforce the habit. Now, YouTuber Matt Avella calls this the 2-day rule. And what he really says is that it's best not to skip 2 days in a row. When we go 2 days without implementing that habit, now we fall off track, and it becomes that much easier to watch a whole week fly right past us. The irony about being consistent and implementing these habits every day into your life is that when you miss 1 or 2 days, you actually go through what I call withdrawals. So in my case, I feel that when I go 1 or 2 days without exercising, my body starts to feel jittery, and already I have this excessive amount of energy in me that I know I need to go exercise. The same as meditation, that if I go a day or two without meditating, I can already feel I'm emotionally off balance. And so my body, my mind, and even my heart is calling me right back to implementing that habit into my life. So you'll start to notice that when you really do get consistent with implementing these new healthy habits into your life, your body will actually yearn. It will call you on to implement these habits on a daily basis. The fourth powerful action step that you can take to build new healthy habits is having a clear system in mind. So this really means not just simply having a grand vision about what it is that you want to accomplish, but really getting clear on exactly what it is that you want. And then breaking that down into smaller incremental daily steps that you can take in order to reach that grand ultimate goal. This essentially creates a clear system for you to follow daily. Now, an example of this could be that you want to, let's say, finish reading 1 book every 2 weeks. So now you take the book, you count the number of pages, and you divide that number of pages by 14 days. Now you know exactly how many pages you need to read each day in order to complete that book within 2 weeks. The last piece is to now set aside a certain amount of time every single day to be able to accomplish that goal. And this is really the basis of having a clear system laid out for you. The fifth and final action step forwards in order to build new healthy habits is celebrating the small wins. The body really actually gets encouraged to move forwards and take action when we give it these small hits of dopamine. When we celebrate the small wins, this actually motivates us and inspires us to keep on going forwards. Now, YouTuber and neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman actually shares this in a very interesting podcast of his, where he talks about those little dopamine hits that actually motivate us to accomplish the end goal and to ultimately build these new healthy habits. Now, a story that he personally shared, which always stuck with me, was a man walking in a desert, for example, going days and days without water, finally sees a body of water up ahead. And just simply in seeing that body of water up ahead of him excites him and sends a rush of dopamine through his body. That very rush of dopamine is just the thing he needed to get him right to the finish line, to arrive at the water, and to ultimately accomplish his goal. What's important to understand about this story is that in order to build these new healthy habits, in order to reach that ultimate end goal, we actually want to feel encouraged along the way and motivated. And these little hits of dopamine are the very thing that will help us. But dopamine is not released when we reach the very end and have achieved the goal. The dopamine is actually what comes just before we've reached that end goal that encourages us, that inspires us to go to the very, very end. So just like this man received that hit, that rush of dopamine when he saw the water far ahead in the desert, encouraging him to go and carry through all the way to the very end, it's the same thing as when we reward and celebrate our small, daily, incremental actions and accomplishments. In doing so, and in recognizing ourselves, we give ourselves those small little dopamine hits that actually encourage us to get to the very end of creating those new healthy habits in our lives. This also reminds me of a little story of my own, that many years back when I was with a partner of mine, I was notorious for always being late, while this partner was notorious for always being on time. And so, what did we do to break the bad habit and create a new one? Every time I had been on time, I was rewarded a golden star. And once I received that 5th golden star, I was then rewarded a small little gift of choice. Oftentimes I opted for a book because I love books. But even the little golden stars alone actually gave me those dopamine rushes, that little bit of excitement that encouraged me to want to get another star and another star until I finally reached the end result. And eventually, in creating the system between us, it built a new habit and took me out of that tardy, old, bad habit that I had. So you can either check mark off your successes and recognize them every night before going to bed, or you can even reward yourself after a certain number of accomplishments and have something to look forward to in the end. It is in celebrating the smaller wins, the smaller successes, that actually encourage you to accomplish the bigger ones and creating those new, grander, healthy habits in your everyday life. So there you go, folks. Those are the 5 action-oriented ways to break bad habits and implement new healthy habits into your daily life. So what were they? 1, manage your environment. Set up the environment in just a way that's great for your ultimate success. 2, be held accountable. In having an accountability buddy or a coach, you now are that much more likely to accomplish what you've set out to do. Number 3, be consistent. This means implementing a plan and following through with it every single day, and not going 2 days in a row without implementing that new habit. 4, setting up a clear system for yourself. That way you know exactly what action steps you need to take every single day. And 5, celebrating the small wins, giving yourself those little dopamine hits. That way you're actually that much more motivated to move forwards and reach the ultimate goal. Now, remembering what we touched on in part 1 of this series, we actually want to have our mental and emotional and energetic space and state right before we can make the physical changes in our lives. This actually makes the whole breaking and building new healthy habits process so much easier for us. It's also so important for us to remember that in building these new healthy habits, we actually build a healthier relationship for ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetically. And when we do so, we not only are empowering ourselves, but we're also building stronger, better relationships with the people in our lives, from our work relationships to our family relationships, to our friendships, our intimate partnerships, and even with complete strangers that we're meeting for the very first time. That in everything we do for ourselves first ultimately has an impact on our outer world as well. So if you enjoyed this video and if you learned a lot, I ask that you click like, subscribe to the channel, leave comments below letting me know what you guys learned and think, ring the bell for weekly notifications on my new videos that I release every week, and I look forward to connecting with you here next week on The Connection Code. My name is Giovanna Elias, and I am a human connection expert.